This is actually a two-way street. That is to say, it works two ways. This is the way that people with autism treat others and how people with autism allow others to treat them. And so when we go over these 8 reasons that people dislike Aspies, we have to approach each one of these from those 2 perspectives. So number 1 is this: we will allow sometimes others to disrespect us in public. This is a serious problem for people with Asperger syndrome, for people with autism, and that is because we have mind blindness. We don't understand how it is that we are supposed to behave around others. And so when somebody would disrespect us in public, what will happen is we don't know how to respond because we're just mind blind to that. Now, other people know perfectly well how to respond. Typically, what they will do is they will return the disrespect for disrespect. You observe that all the time, and while that may seem to be a very unpleasant thing to do, at the moment, it seems to work. It keeps others from disrespecting us. If you disrespect me in public, if you say something unkind about me or try to humiliate me, but I may be, I don't know what, teasing somebody, not playfully, but just putting them down, yeah, that requires an answer. People with autism just don't understand that. Now, this is the flip side of it. This is the other way of the two-way street. Sometimes people don't like Aspies not only because we allow them to disrespect us in public, but sometimes because we will disrespect other people in public, and it's the same reason. We don't understand necessarily how to behave in public. We don't know how to behave in social circumstances. Mind blindness once again. We don't mean to be disrespectful. At least I hope we don't. We don't mean to put somebody else down, to put them in bad light, but we do it, and when we do it, what's going to happen is, well, what happens when someone does that to you? They don't like you, right? So one of the reasons, again, that people don't like Aspies, don't like people with autism, it's either because we allow them to disrespect us rather in public, or because we allow ourselves unwittingly to disrespect others in public. Number 2 is this. It's what I call, for lack of a better term, treatment flipping. Now, have you ever had somebody, we're talking about teasing people or ridiculing people in public. Have you ever had somebody who treats you very warm and kindly when you're by yourself? Just the two of you. Good friend, very reasonable, but as soon as you get around to other people, suddenly you're the brunt of the joke. And I never knew. I never knew if it was bunt of the joke or brunt of the joke, so I'm going to go with brunt. If you know better, you can let me know in the comments. But suddenly, you're somebody who is game for humiliation. They don't respect you very much the same as number 1. They don't respect you, and they express it. But now we're going a step further. It's somebody who will respect you in private, or at least not disrespect you. When we do that, people won't like us. And when we allow others to do it with us, that signals other people that it's okay to make this person the brunt of the joke. This person is not just the brunt of the joke. This person, speaking of you, actually is the joke. So let's humiliate this person because it's socially accepted. When we allow others to do that, and again, I know it's hard to defend ourselves, but when we allow others to do that, naturally, they're just not going to like us because we're going to be perceived as kind of the loser. Number 3 is interrupting people when they're talking. This happens all the time. When people do it to us, it's we say, it's kind of rude. I was trying to make a point here, and this guy just started talking over top of me. It works both ways. Sometimes we will do it to others, and sometimes what I have found to do when people do that to me is I just keep on talking. Somebody interrupts me, and they seem to have this sense of almost selfishness, where they just naturally think that they should be allowed to speak whenever they want to. They are entitled. And if you try to just get louder, they will get louder. They are entitled. Now, if you allow them to do that, that signals to others that Go ahead, abuse this guy. And again, two-way street, if we do it to others, they won't like us. And I've seen some occasions where somebody would talk over top of me and I just get really loud. And next thing you know, this guy doesn't like me. And those occasions, I don't think I care, because if you let them get away with it, I'd rather have one person dislike me than have everyone, because that guy set a very bad example. Number four rather, is being easily offended. Most people that I know with Asperger syndrome, with high-functioning autism, because we have been put down and hurt and injured, we become naturally naturally sensitive, I should say. So if you have ever hurt yourself physically, or maybe somebody else hurt you physically, say, for example, you get a sunburn. I've used this illustration before. But say you get a sunburn on your arm, wherever, that part of the part of you that is burned becomes very sensitive. That's the same thing with being abused throughout your life by others, or excluded at the very most. You become very sensitive to how other people treat you, sometimes too sensitive, unnaturally sensitive. But it's understandable. But still, it's understandable for us or anybody who's thinking. But not all people are us, and not all people are thinking. So when we come across as being easily offended, it may be justified, but still others won't like us because of that. We become tender to the touch, and sometimes, I hate to say it, because this is like anathema to anybody with Asperger syndrome to say this, but sometimes, yeah, you do have to just suck it up. Sometimes the offense is justified to us, and it is justified, but we have to understand that to others it's not. So we have to understand that if we want others to not dislike us. Something else is we need to allow feedback. People, for some reason, they don't like to give direct feedback. I don't know why that is, but they don't like to say, Ken, I've noticed you have a problem. Why do people not like to do that? Well, for one, I think because they have their own problems and they know it, so they feel a little uncomfortable. But they will try to teach us lessons by mistreating us to make sure that we understand that what you are doing is wrong. But when they do have the courage and character to give us feedback abruptly, verbally, articulated, we should welcome that feedback, even if it's wrong. That's not to say we should accept it and apply it and believe it, but still listen to it. So sometimes people will say that I make mistakes, and I've had people on this channel say, it would be a lot better. Remember, way back when I used to have this little scroll right across the bottom of the screen, and somebody said, that's really distracting. So I thought about it. I said, it really doesn't serve a purpose, and if some people find it distracting, why is it there? So that was, in a sense, critical, but it was good criticism. Made a good point, right? So I took it off. The point is, we should always be willing to listen to criticism. And other people have said things that made suggestions, I should say, with our channel. And I disagreed, so I didn't make the change. I just left it there. But the point is, we should always be open to feedback. That's part of number 4. Being easily offended. Number 5 is, did I have a problem with this when I was younger? Number 5 is being unreliable. If you have a job, you should get the job done and get it done well and get it done in a timely manner. Somebody allows you to do something, get it done. Have you ever taken your car in and have it worked on? And whoever's working on it, the mechanic, just takes his time and may have it for months on end. Man, that drives you crazy. If you gave the guy permission to do that, I had I still have a truck that I wanted it repaired properly, so I took it to the mechanic and I said, look, I'm in no big hurry. Keep this thing when you have time, do whatever needs to be done to it. And he took me at my word, and he took his own sweet time. And I had no problem with that because that was the instruction. I wanted him to take his time because I wanted him to not rush through it. So that's okay. But sometimes you're expecting a job to be done, finished in a timely manner. And if we procrastinate, people don't like that. If we have an appointment to do something, let's say you're in the lawn care business. If you have an appointment to mow somebody's grass, man, you got to be there on time. Got to be there at the day. A lot of people in the service industry understand that very well. Some of them don't. So we need to understand that when we are the ones who don't, that we're going to be the ones who, well, people just don't like us. And it may not be, like a job that you're doing for somebody, but anything. When they are relying on us, we should always be there. And if we don't, people are not going to like us. That's one of the reasons that I think that people with autism are often disliked, because they just can't count on us to be there. And part of that is because we're walking on eggshells. Part of that, these two tie together because we are so easily offended. We're scared to death that we're going to be offended. So we don't show up. Well, good news. We offended others. We weren't offended, but they were. Number 6 is being too demanding of other people. I don't know about you, but I don't like to be treated like a child. I don't like to be treated like insubordinate or subordinate, rather. Sometimes it is necessary. Depends on the circumstances, but if you were in an employment situation, you're going to have a superior. You're going to be not insubordinate, I said it again. You're going to be subordinate to somebody else, got a boss. That is, you expect them to treat you as an employee. They tell you what to do and you do it. Well, that's understandable. But there are other people who they're the boss all the time. You're not even at work, just a friend. They're in charge. They're in control. They treat you maybe like a child. So you say, yeah, I find that very offensive. Well, we need to understand, if we treat other people that way, what makes us think that they're going to be any less offended? So one of the reasons that people don't like people with autism is because we may treat them as children unintentionally. So we are ignoring somebody because of mind blindness, or maybe because we have selective mutism. There's some people we just can't connect with. They don't understand that. Sometimes we don't understand that. But what they think is that you are arrogant and that they are not worthy of your attention. They're kind of like little children. We don't even know we're doing it. Or if we do know we're doing it, we don't intend to treat them like the little kids, But still, that is one of the reasons people don't like us. And one of the reasons that we don't like other people is because they sense that there is something odd about us, so they treat us that way. So we don't like them. Number 7 is respecting boundaries of other people. This is usually very challenging to people with autism because we don't know where the boundaries are. Talking about social circumstances, sometimes there are physical boundaries. Typically, and you don't see them, they're invisible, they're just understood. But typically, it is understood that you can't get too close to somebody when you're talking to them. Somebody trying to be a jerk, they will get in someone else's face. They do that intentionally. They know there's a boundary, and they're saying we're going to disrespect your boundary, and we're going to get in your face. Well, sometimes people with autism will get in somebody's face because we're not being bullying, we're not being intimidating, we're not being rude. We're just talking to them. We don't know there's that boundary. But typically 2-3 feet away, and I like to stay further away than that. So make good and sure you respect their boundaries, and also the things that we say to people. We may think that we're being humorous or funny, but if it's disrespectful to the person, we need to understand that there are boundaries when it comes to teasing people. That best thing to do is just don't say anything that is personal that will offend somebody. When they say it to you, it hurts. So we should have to stop and think, it's a two-way street. If I say it to them or something like that, they're not going to like me. Number 8, the last one, is just flat out dishonesty. People dislike others who are dishonest. That you don't even have to say that. It's so obvious. Yet everyone does it. I guess it's because they don't care if they like them or not. And there's some things that take precedence over being liked. And typically that's money. Have you ever gone to buy a car and somebody was not honest with you? Maybe they flat out lied to you. I went to buy a car, or look at a car, didn't go to buy it. Went to look at a car one time, and the guy who was selling it said he was trying to raise money to pay for his granddaughter's college education. And the way that he said it just did not impress me at all. First thing came out of his mouth, it was kind of like he's putting the screws to me, a little tactic. The fact of the matter is he was not a very good salesman, because once he said that, I don't know if he's telling the truth or not, but even if he was, it's still manipulative. So I just lost all interest in the car. I didn't even look at it. I say, thanks, I'm done, bye. Took off and went my own way. But that, in my opinion, was a form of dishonesty. If, in fact, he was lying about it or he was using the truth in a dishonest manner. Same thing. So when we do that, when we are less than honest, and sometimes we think we are being honest, but the people misinterpret it or misunderstand what we're saying, they're not going to like us. Or they're going to use that as an excuse to hold something against us. And the thing that I've learned about neurotypical people is they are never happy to be unhappy alone. Let me re-say that. They are never happy to be unhappy alone. If they are unhappy with you, they want everyone to be unhappy with you. And it's not long before the person that you offended, maybe even unintentionally, has affected or infected other people with his or her unhappiness. And now you've got all these people who are mad at you. And a lot of them don't even know why. All they know is you are the person who this guy said was dishonest. So you are the person to be disliked. There are 2 rectangles on the screen if you want our conversation to continue. All you got to do is click on one of those 2 rectangles, because we got dozens and, we got scores, maybe hundreds of videos on this channel. So you can binge watch all you want, but if not, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see y'all next time.